Joining us now, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Morning, Shannon.
So what is the intelligence community's assessment of Vladimir Putin and his future ambitions?
Well, I want to focus, first of all, on President Trump's goal and the reality that's on the ground. And that's the thing that seems to be getting lost in what we're seeing in President Zelensky's statements in the White House and the European leaders' response to this. President Trump recognizes the urgent need to end this war after 3 long, bloody years and has proven that he is the only person that can do this. President Zelensky has different aims in mind. He has said that he wants to end this war, but he will only accept an end, apparently, that leads to what he views as Ukraine's victory, even if it comes at an incredibly high cost of potentially World War III or even a nuclear war. President Trump is committed to peace and to freedom. We're seeing this big divergence here between his position and his commitment to these values and the interests of the American people and the interests of President Zelensky and these European leaders. This is an issue that has to be resolved. I know President Trump is committed to doing this, and that's really where the next step needs to lead.
Yeah, so what is that next step? Because one of the criticisms of the Biden administration is that they hadn't talked to Putin for years. President Trump is doing that. He's having that conversation. But now it seems the relationship with Zelensky is broken, at least temporarily. How does that get back on track? Because he's got to be part of the conversation as well.
Of course, and President Trump has made very clear that in his previous conversations with both Putin and Zelensky that he wants to engage with both. He wants to engage in honest and real negotiations. And unfortunately, what happened in the White House after close to an hour of conversation when President Zelensky directly challenged President Trump and Vice President Vance in front of the media and the American people, he really showed his lack of interest in any real good faith negotiations. I can tell you there were a lot of conversations that were happening through different emissaries, both for Zelensky and for President Trump, leading up to his visit there to the Oval Office. And President Zelensky's immediate escalation there was frankly quite a surprise. This has created a huge rift in the relationship. President Zelensky, as you pointed out in the clips that you played, doesn't believe that he did anything wrong and that there was no issue with what he brought up in the Oval Office with President Trump. There's going to have to be a rebuilding of any kind of interest in good faith negotiations, I think, before President Trump is going to be willing to re-engage on this.
One of the things that might have gotten lost in the shuffle as people were trying to listen and now they're talking over each other, we've all seen the clips there from the Oval Office. Zelensky was saying, we did have ceasefires. I have signed onto other agreements, and yet Putin crossed those lines. He said he blew up the ceasefires. He killed my people. Does he not have a valid point that there should be real, understanding his frustrations and skepticism that Putin is actually going to be a reliable partner in whatever deal comes together?
Really, there's two viable paths here. One is that this war continues on as it has for over 3 years. More and more Ukrainians will lose their lives. More and more of the country of Ukraine will be decimated and destroyed in this, what will continue to be essentially a war of attrition. And to what end? To what outcome? President Trump sees this reality. So the alternative to this, which he is so intent on, which he talked about continuously throughout his campaign, that the American people voted for, is his commitment to ending this war and bringing about peace. That requires bringing interested parties to the table to conduct these negotiations. Of course, both sides are going to have their arguments and their interests that they are fighting for. This is the reality of how these negotiations always occur during times of war. Neither side is going to be happy, very likely, with the outcome, but ultimately it needs to lead to peace. And that's what President Trump is so committed to, because he recognizes that the longer this goes on, not only are more Ukrainians losing their lives, but it increases the potential of this escalation towards World War III that he warned against as he sat there with Zelensky, saying that he's gambling with World War III, and that's not a cost that President Trump is willing to accept.